The Shakespeare at 63 Sadler Street is not listed by Historic England for having any architectural importance whatsoever. The herringbone and other brickwork of the pub's facade is obviously fairly modern. However, a board outside the entrance loudly proclaims that the building dates back to 1109 AD and was an inn called the Ostler and Groom in 1468. What we know of the early occupation of the area comes from excavations at 61 to 63 Sadler Street, which revealed the remains of wattle and daub buildings surrounded by middens containing leather offcuts and waste from a shoemaking industry, as well as domestic refuse. These earliest structures were set back from the road and were rebuilt several times before 1200 as they gradually moved forwards to face onto Sadler Street, the main entrance to the peninsula and near the Great North Gate of Durham Castle. A Lord Nelson Inn on Sadler Street is mentioned in context of James Cordell, who with public backing built a theatre behind the pub. This opened in March 1792. Access to this new theatre was along a narrow alley called Playhouse Passage. It would become Durham's Theatre Royal, and the pub became the location of a theatre box office. In the 19th century, both actors and theatre patrons alike frequented the place. By the 1860s, the Lord Nelson had been renamed the Shakespeare Tavern because of its theatrical connections, but by this time it had lost its popularity and had become a struggling musical venue. It continued to operate until 1869, when it was almost completely destroyed by a fire. Some slight rebuilding of the burnt-out theatre was undertaken, but it never recovered. It would come to serve as a soup kitchen, a Bible warehouse, an exhibition hall, an art school, a piano sales room, and an auctioneer's. The last surviving remnant of the theatre was part of its dressing room, before it too was demolished in 1974 to make way for student accommodation. Today, inside the Shakespeare, the former upstairs manager's office has been refurbished and turned into a spirits bar, of the alcoholic kind. As to whether it is, as claimed, one of the most haunted pubs in England, well, that seems to be a rather gross overstatement, and I've actually found very few witness accounts to the alleged phenomena excite. With the activity documented at the Dun Cow, it is possibly not even the most haunted pub in Durham. I've never personally found it to be active, and never witnessed any spirits there, although I have not often visited, not really being a frequenter of pubs. That being said, there is a difference to a periodic visit and the experience of someone spending a lot of time in a haunted building. George Metcalfe was the manager of the Shakespeare in 2020, and in an article published in the Chronicle, George stated that there's all sorts, from people being shushed on stairways, to shirts being tugged, dark figures being there, then disappear. Now and then you get the odd screaming and shouting, and there will be nothing there. There's footsteps that are sometimes running up and down the stairs, but there is no one there. There are sudden gusts of wind where there shouldn't be, as though there should be a window open, but no window will be open. There's a lot of things that you can't explain going on. There is a sewing machine out the back, and the pedal seems to want to start working itself because it makes this distinctive squeak every now and again. It is just an eerie feeling. George believed that there was at least one or two ghosts walking the corridors, and added, "I think there is something in the cellar, because I went down and someone was down there. It felt like someone touched the back of my shirt, even though the door was shut behind me." Some have claimed that the pub is haunted by the ghost of a woman in black who appears at the top of the stairs. They have named her Sarah, I was told during a lunchtime visit there. Linda Belinda wrote in the comments on a Northern Echo article on the 3rd of October 2020, "Must have been back in the late 1980s. I was with a group of friends in the Shakespeare in Durham, and one of the guys went to the loo. He came back really shaken up and claimed he'd heard a voice and felt a presence even though nobody else, mortal, was there at the same time. It was also freezing cold. But the loos were, at least at that time, more or less outside." So, if anyone watching my videos has had an experience in the Shakespeare, drop me a line. If there are enough, I'll create an update.